And tonight, a decisive blow against the world's #1 state sponsor of terrorism is absolutely in America's best interest. The people that have been chanting death to Israel, death to America, while waging terror around the world and over the years killing Americans, slaughtering thousands and thousands of innocent people, that is not going to end well. My prediction for the Iranian leadership, if I had to make a prediction, it's only a matter of time before Iran's radical Islamic fascist regime faces the justice they deserve. Here now, a Democratic lawmaker now backing President Trump and his actions in Iran. Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman is with us. Senator, I shared with you video tonight. We don't know who's watching the show at any given moment. There are children that could be watching the show. But I shared it with you because I read your comments of support for the president. And am I wrong in my description that this is pure evil and that I can't risk having young kids see this?
No, of course. It was heartbreaking. I mean, you literally witnessed executing young people. I mean, like just summarily executing people. And the bodies are stacked up in body bags everywhere. And to do the kinds of cruelty just takes your breath away. And I would like to remind the people watching right now, so many more people, they killed their own people than during the 12-day war with Israel. Significantly less loss of life in the 12-day war with Israel, because Israel had very specific kinds of goals and now you have Iranians killing their own people, thousands and thousands of them. So now that video is absolutely, and I'm sure there's even much more happening. So, here we are with now what Israel and what our country accomplished after striking the nuclear facilities. So now I'm open to this idea that there could be a catalyst or some kinds of engagement or an action, from our nation could put thing over the top and break this awful regime.
Well, I mean, we're talking about real blood, real death in real time, and real images of blood and gore and death, and it's just unbelievable. Not images that you can never erase from your mind. Reports now anywhere between 12 and 20,000 dead Iranians, many others injured. Morgues are packed and hospitals are packed, Senator. When the president says help is on the way, the only help I can think of that would be effective would be military help. That to me seems to be the only solution that would stop the Iranians from killing their own people and slaughtering them the way they are.
Yeah, well, I mean, sanctions and other things really haven't worked. What really worked with Iran was the nuclear facilities. They had 800 pounds of 90% enriched uranium, and they were absolutely committed to build a nuclear bomb. People seem to forget that, and how that changed the entire dynamic in the Middle East after they destroyed their nuclear facilities. And now that helped trigger this kinds of unrest right now in Iran. That could actually create a new nation with these protests. That's why I remain open to these kinds of strikes. And as you pointed out, and I think the president, everyone said, there is not a boots on the ground thing. This is not Iraq. Nothing is like this, what happened in Iraq. This is us standing with those protesters. And as that video that you shared, they are quite literally slaughtering thousands and thousands of them and executing their own people in the street. So for me, I think that's why I'm going to remain open to this, because I absolutely was the right thing that happened when we struck the nuclear facilities. As the only Democrat that agreed with that, just because it's a different party.
It's ridiculous that, we don't have the moral clarity on an issue like this. We see the absolute murder. Where are all the people that was shouting, free Palestine? The Trump doctrine is very clear, and you've been supportive of it, and you are the only Democrat that has been. But, there are certain criteria. Is this in America's best interest? I believe it is. It's the #1 state sponsor of terror. A surgical strike is very different than boots on the ground. It's very different than a forever war. It won't be that. Why aren't there other Democrats supporting you? And I know you probably get sick of that question, and I don't blame you.
I really, I don't. I mean, it's disappointing, honestly. I mean, I was fully supportive of Israel through that. And then that really kind of isolated me within my party now. And then I was calling, we have to destroy these nuclear facilities. If Iran acquires that nuclear bomb, that changes a much dramatic there. And now Iran's making these kinds of threat. I mean, remember also Israel, they created air supremacy within 2 days. Iran really's capabilities are severely limited at this point. And now they're in a death spiral with all these protests. Why wouldn't one be ready to provide the kind of a bump to push it, to finally break this regime? And now they're so desperate, They are quite literally just executing thousands of their own citizens.
And I think every American needs to ask themselves a question.